Good morning. What's up, guys? How we doing? Hope we're having a good day here so far. Let's get to work. Jacob, Scott, Javaz, how we doing, guys? How we doing, guys? Good to see everybody. Michael, good morning. How we doing? All right, so you are looking at a 2-minute chart. We're going to be, of course, executing primarily off the 2-minute here today. Up top, you have the 5-minute top left, 2-minute, same 2-minute top right. And then the bottom of your screen, that's going to be the New York daily. Okay, meaning the New York session only daily chart. You can see volatility has increased, but the reality of us being in a range market is unchanged. It's just a slightly more volatile range market, which is good. It's a good thing. All right, let's take a look. We have 41 seconds left on this 2-minute bar. Let's see how we close. Coming into 23.3. Gonna be a tier 3 level. Not too concerned with it on its own. Wolf, how we doing? Giovanni Joe, good morning, man. Well, good to see ya. Roy, how you doing today? All right. Gaines, what's up, brother? Christian, how we doing? All right, barely an outside close. They're on that 2-minute bar, closing near the intraday high. Though, I gotta tell you, looking at this soft little bull channel, I am much more interested right now in buying a bear bar closing near its low, near the low of the channel. So let's see if we can get that. Callan now, good, doing well. All right, we got 60 seconds here. Now, again, really what I would like to see here is a nice bear bar or two closing near their low, and I would like to get long on that as we push into intraday highs here. Now, if this bull channel, you know, if it's pretty soft right now, but if it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, then I become more and more willing to buy rollovers of strong bull bars closing near the high. Right now, it's a little soft for me to be jumping at that. All right, 3 consecutive bull bars. First one being an inside close. This next rollover is going to be a dual rollover, by the way. 5-minute top left, 2-minute top right, both a minute 43 out. Let's see what we get here out of the 5-minute in particular. Revisit that in 90 seconds. All right. Tell you what we're going to do. Let's switch over to the 5 since we have a dual rollover coming here. There we go. That's a 5-minute chart, and we are 35 seconds out. Let's see what we get as far as a close. still looking at it as, you know, I mean, it's a strengthening soft bull channel. But if the 5-minute gives us a hell of a close, which it looks like it might, then I gotta be willing to do this. That as far away as possible, in case we get news here. All right, I'll give that 30 seconds, see if we can get a fill. There we go. Right there, beautiful. 20 more seconds. If we don't get a fill, then we're softening up again, and I don't want to get filled. So again, if you guys are a little bit newer, you don't know what that is a stop limit buy. Meaning, if it triggers, if it breaks the wick high of the previous bar, it will fill me long. I, of course, use that rather than a limit buy order, because a limit buy you gotta put below the market. Gotta pull it, no fill. All right, let's head back to the 2. Back on a 2-minute chart here. Minute 11 out. All right, this is going to be our 5th consecutive bull bar here on the 2-minute chart. Get a fill, suck up, risk the signal bar. Very, very tight. Just a little scalp mentality here. And see if we can get a 6th. ATR is sitting about 20. It's the average range of a 2-minute bar. In points, right? Based on the last 10. Okay, now on this trade, by the way, you could justify, you could put the stop here, you could put the stop below here, you could technically put the stop below here, though now you're risking, 60, 65 points. For me here, I know that this is a soft bull channel, so probability on this trade, I would not say is tremendously high. That doesn't mean that there's not a little bit of edge there that we need to maybe put on. But if we suck back into the channel and soften up again here, we'll cut it, move on. Joe, Indigo, great job on the comeback last night. Yes, yesterday afternoon was, well, I don't even want to say it was crazy because it really was. It was me sitting here in silence, just putting on base hits. I had one bigger swing. But quite the crazy afternoon yesterday. If you guys are not, by the way, in the free Discord, join up. wrenchcapital.com/Discord. It's free, obviously. Not going to charge you to join a fucking Discord. All right, inside close there on that bear bar. If the bears overtake that wick low on that signal bar, which of course signal bar was this bull bar here, closing near its high, growing bull bar, 5 consecutive bull bars. If we retake this wick, again, this for me is the tightest the stop I could possibly justify on this trade. ATR, by the way, sitting about 19, just below 20, about 19.4. Yes, sir, micros. All right, there's a little new high out of the bulls. All right, bulls, give us a nice, half-decent push. I'll take between a half and a whole ATR. There we go. Decent close there out of the bulls. Mark, do you have a max loss? Well, I'm not really sure if you're asking the question implying that that's a bad thing, Mark. However, I will go out on a limb here and say the unpopular opinion: max loss is training wheels for dudes who can't control their emotions. Now, it makes sense to have a really big max loss in case you're not seeing the market properly and you haven't realized it yet. But if you haven't realized that you're not seeing the market properly within 5 or 10 trades, there's something wrong there. Max loss is meant to stop you from A, taking a million trades when you don't see things properly, and B, spiraling emotionally. Now, A is solved by just saying, hey, you know what? I'm not seeing things today properly. So I should probably either change my style to something that fits the current market environment or walk away. And if you're spiraling emotionally, man, you're trading too big. There we go. We'll take about 65%-ish of an ATR. All right, that'll book like $1,200. Let's move on. Oops. All right, 20 seconds out here until the close of this 2-minute bar. Things are tightening down. News, do you consider ATR when setting take profit or stop loss? Yep, just took. Well, it actually might have been about 70% of an ATR-ish. So, yeah, 100%. I'm not looking for, take profits on a scalp of 70 points if ATR is 9. Has to be considered. Now, by the way, guys, with the max loss thing, in the early days, you should have a max loss because you might not know when you're not seeing things properly. So it's helpful. But, I mean, at some point, it's like you're not going to put yourself in a position where you're losing a ridiculous amount of unmanageable amount of money in one day. At some point when you're professional, whatever the fuck that means. So the reality is, the bigger the sample size, the edge plays out better. The casino will never stop dealing you cards. Because they have the edge, right? Now, when do you need to walk away? Well, the casino rules are built into their game, so they never have to walk away because the rules don't change. But in trading, if you're not seeing things properly, especially before you kind of realize that you're not seeing things properly, you should have a point where you stop yourself. Christian, taking your advice, sizing up for evals, looking good so far today. Yesterday was a train wreck for me. Yeah, for those of you guys who, well, I guess for everyone but Christian, when he says sizing up on evals, I don't mean, trade 7, 8, 9, 10 evals. I'm sorry, NQ on an eval. When I say I size up on evals, what I mean is I start, like, let's say it's a 50K Apex, for example, because everyone knows the numbers for that. I'll start with 3 NQ. When I get to 1500, I'll size down to 2. When I get to like 2500, I'll size down to 1. It's not an exact science as far as when I size down. It's not like I'm setting my take profit to the tick at 1500, not at all. I just scalp my way until about halfway, and then I scalp my way with 2 until I get about $500 or so away, a few $100, and then I cross the finish line with 1. What does that do? Well, I mean, you're trading the biggest in the beginning. So if you're going to mess up the eval and fail it, I'd like to know that right away, because opportunity cost is my biggest concern when trading an eval. it takes time, it takes mental capital, and it's a waste of my time other than getting funded. Okay, so I want to get through it as quickly as I can without just gambling. I know some people like to do that. Don't do that. Not only is it silly and kind of probably not an efficient use of your capital, because you're doubling the cost basically of your evals, but also Apex maybe cracks down at some point on that. Who knows? So be more aggressive in the evals, but trade for real. But for me, man, I'm trying to pass them in an afternoon at the very most. Oh, you can see here, man, this range is tightening up. Went kind of from this here down to this tight. When things are this tight, I gotta wait for something to break. Callan now, Nico, on evals, do you copy trade? I have. But honestly, on evals, most of the time I trade them individually. Here's why. Okay, my theory on trading prop, and let me explain what most people do. Most people will go to Apex, they'll buy 20 evals, they'll copy trade all 20, and then they either pass all 20 or they blow all 20. Both are not ideal in my head. Here's why. If you blow all 20, obviously that sucks. But if you pass all 20, now you have the same exact starting point on all 20 of your funded accounts. So when you eventually blow the accounts, you're going to blow them all at the exact same time, and now you have zero. My theory on scaling horizontally, which you guys know is my primary theory, but how do we do that? I like to toss in funded accounts a few times a week. Okay, if necessary, or maybe a few times a month if we're holding on to like older ones longer or something. But a few times a week, you know, maybe okay, on Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons, I don't know, whatever. Just come up or just do it spontaneously. In the afternoon, you trade an eval, or you trade 2 or 3 Apex evals, or you work on a take profit eval. And then what you're doing is you're starting funded accounts at different points so that when you do blow a funded account or a number of funded accounts, it's not all at once. And it's less emotional. The roller coaster's smoothed out. Your payout schedule is smoothed out, and you're not down for a week trying to get refunded. Both, baby. 80% off and single day pass if you use code BIG. All right, finally, here we go. Getting a bit of a break. All right, 43 seconds out here from the close of this 2-minute bar. If you look at the 5-minute chart top left of your screen, we also have the first 5-minute bear bar forming in 6 bars. Well, I guess 7 bars. With 6 consecutive bull bars, some softer than others, but bull bars nonetheless. So this is going to be a dual rollover here. Let's see how this closes. You can see here we have shrinking bear body here on the 2-minute. That's not tremendous to see if you're a bear. Now listen, I'm also gonna take this with a grain of salt because I know that some people aren't really gonna understand what I mean by this, and I don't mean that in a derogatory manner. I mean that in a way, like if you don't understand what I'm saying, you might not implement it properly. But the equation that makes you profitable, by the way, we're a minute 13 out from the rollover of this 2-minute bar, so let's see how we close. The equation that makes you profitable consistently is going to be win rate and reward to risk. Now, it changes all the time, okay? But when you put it all together, mix it up, and look, it needs to equal at least some statistical edge. Like all the time, as often as possible, but this might help a lot of you guys pass, especially like Apex evals, okay? And you didn't hear this from me. You know how you increase your probability on a trade? Does anybody know? How do you increase probability? Futures are efficiently priced, okay? They're not quite as efficient as Forex, which is good. You don't want it to be entirely efficiently priced, because if it was perfect, we wouldn't be able to make any money. Giovanni Joe says a bigger stop loss increases probability. Yes, partially true. Partially true, that and something else. This is specific to a range market, by the way, which we're currently in. In a trend market, this doesn't work the same. In a range market, how can you increase the probability of any given trade, which helps especially on passing evals? I wouldn't necessarily encourage this on funded accounts, necessarily, but if you're just trying to pass evals, how do you do this? Yeah, you guys got it. You guys got it. In a range market, you try to take good entries, the best entries you can, and you trade maybe one NQ. And then what you can do is if it continues to go against you and you're like, now it's going further and further against the range, but it is not yet an opposing entry, you can add to losers in a range market with a relatively wide stop loss, and that increases probability. Now that's mathematically true, okay? You can't say, oh, Nico told me this. That is just mathematically true because the market is efficiently priced. In a range market, if you add to losers with a relatively wide stop loss, your probability of success on the trade, whatever success means for you, is relatively good. It's pretty damn good. Okay, that can help you pass evals. But yeah, if you dollar cost average in a trend, mathematically it doesn't make sense anymore because you're on the wrong side of the trend probably if you're having to heavily dollar cost average. But in a range market, if it continues to push further and further outside of the range, the probability of it snapping back just gets higher and higher. So if you continue to lower your average or raise it if you're short through that move, guess what happens to the probability of success on your trade when all you care about is passing the eval and they're cheap enough where if you blow it, it's like it doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? It's something to think about because, again, mathematically provable, it increases your probability of success on any given trade to do that. Now, again, you can get hurt doing that, but if you're someone who's like, I have enough money to go around as far as the evals are concerned, something to think about if you're really struggling passing. You got to increase your probability. All right, we're going to get long there. On that bull bar closing near its high. Pretty good average there. Let's see if we can get a test of the intraday high of day. HR, by the way, is about 18. We're going to get a little bit better, ideally, than half an ATR here. See if the bulls can take this. There we go. Hold that. All right, next trade. Max. Of course, I bought 40 Apex PAs or evals using code BIG. Hey, Tony. Welcome back, brother. How we doing? Mike, good to see you. All right, you can see we got another test here of the intraday high. I imagine we might end up seeing this become a thing here. Very, very common after you get a tight little push to see it turn into a sideways trading range. Could be wrong. Could be wrong, of course, and if we are, we'll trade what actually ends up happening. But if that turns into a sideways trading range, it wouldn't surprise me, which is why I got to hold off on buying this rollover if we close up above this wick high. Within reason, right? If we get a big surprise bull bar, meaning bigger than what's normal currently, quite a bit bigger than what's normal, then all of a sudden things might change a little bit. But a small close outside or above this wick high still holds the theory, hey, maybe sideways trading range after this little push, which has been tremendously common in the market the last like 2 months. Redneck, red to green today? That was me yesterday, man. Good work. Yeah, you can see these bulls, man, trying to take it up through what could be a little ascending resistance, maybe a little flat top. I prefer to look at things as a flat if it's barely tilted. As long as we can kind of justify that, a lot of people would be seeing it that way. We know the bears are trying to hold that down based on that more recent pullback being a little bit deeper than what we were seeing. All right, here comes the rollover. You can see inside close. Inside close, nothing there. Gotta hold off. Next bar. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Gotta grab coffee. Go nowhere. You're back. All right, we are back. Looks like the Bulls broke this out, but the Bears are now trying to take it right back into the soft bull channel. I guess we could call it a soft bull trend. Let's call it that. Soft bull trend. 56 seconds till the close here of this 2-minute bar. Let's see what we get. P&L so far on the day is $22.90, so $2,200. Almost 23. Let's see if we can pad that up. Chris, we are not. If you look at the screen, you'll see. It'll be very clear when we're in a trade. We've got a few looks that we got to look at here. Approximately that would be one of them. That's relatively clear. And we have this look here. I would call this guy a wedge. It's collapsing a little bit as far as width. However, we also have to consider the fact that, hey, you know, do we see this suck back into the flat bottom, completely denying this, getting rid of that entirely? I mean, realistically, the 5-minute 20 EMA is down here at 23.3. So that's really not even a concern as far as this is concerned, this whole soft bull trend, trading range, however this happens to develop here. A lot of this kind of relies right there. All right, 35 seconds out here. Now, my one issue, if we get a strong bear bar closing near the low, you start to think, well, I mean, in a lot of ways, you should get short, but I can't get short. I mean, fuck, look at the 5-minute chart. All I want to be doing until this snaps up is buying. It's just a little easier. to make money if you see this and you just take most shorting off the table until it has earned it. Which in my opinion, I think, you know, really, again, on a 5-minute chart, it hasn't really earned looking at much of a short until we snap that up. Right? That wick. Now, if you're like micro scalping, it's a little bit of a different story. If we enter a trading range, a little bit of a different story. But while we're in this soft bull trend here, really, that's all I want to be doing. Ross says, hey, Big, got a question? Just purchased 8 funded next accounts. What's the best platform to copy trade them all on? I don't know. I don't know about funded next. What's the plugin? Is it Rhythmic? Are you using NinjaTrader? Is it Tradeovate? If you're using either Tradeovate or Rhythmic as the connection and you're plugging them into NinjaTrader, I like the Affordable Indicators copier. And no, I do not have a code or anything with them. I just like it. It's a tool that works for me. And I have, as you guys know, not had the best luck with copy traders. So when I found one that actually did what the fuck it was supposed to do, I got very excited. I've also heard good things about, I think it's called QuantGuard, though I've never tried it. All right, bulls struggling with that little flat top, becoming even more relevant as we go here. Let's see if the bulls can snap that up or if they get rejected back down deeper into the range. Alright, getting a push. It'll push you out of the bulls. Oh, here, listen. For those of you guys who are primarily swing traders, let me show you something. This is a 5-minute chart. This here, this 5-minute bar here, that would be an entry. Now listen, move all this aside. If you're swing trading on a 5-minute chart, I get it, we're scalping around here, but I just want to show you something because this is a good example. This here, that's an entry for a swing, right? You're inside of the range, you're getting a strong bull bar, consecutive bull bars, and then big growing bull bar. You can risk basically the curl of the bar or the full curl if you wanted to. And then how do you manage it? Well, you just manage based on price action. I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, this is an inside close. I wouldn't manage there. Inside close, I wouldn't manage there. You could manage beneath on this rollover. You could have closed it, which would have been, you know, a nice profit. Looking at maybe 80-ish points or so. And then this is where we currently are. So, you know, for those of you guys who maybe are working remotely and trying to trade on the side, you're like, I can't scalp all day, man. I got a job to do. Maybe swing trading is your better bet. But I like scalping. Dreff, yes, so they say, sorry if you've answered this 100 times, but how many points do you consider a scalp? For me, a scalp is less about points and more about time. More about intention of time, let's say, because sometimes trades are quicker than expected. Sometimes trades take a little longer than expected, especially if you know, like, for example, I didn't do this for a reason. But, you know, if you buy this rollover here, intending for the trade to take 5 minutes or less, and then you end up in a trading range, and now it's been, you know, 15, 20 minutes, almost 20 minutes. Your intention was for it to be a scalp. I wouldn't say it's turning into a swing, because I think that that's a mistake to just take scalps and then say, oh, now it's a swing. But if a scalp takes longer than anticipated and there isn't a reason to manage it yet, it's okay. Your intention wasn't for it to be a scalp, it's just the volatility died. And you entered a trading range, and now you have to figure out a way to manage it. That one scenario is one of the parts of scalping that can get a little bit weird, where you enter when volatility is good, and then immediately upon entering, it dies. You guys have seen it happen here on stream. Volatility dies and you enter a sideways trading range. You just kind of have to figure out how to manage it to the best of your ability. But for me, scalping is more about intention of, hey, how long do you expect this trade to take? Are you making a reasonable ask of the market based on the average range of a bar? So this is a 2-minute chart. The average range of a 2-minute bar based on, well, points, right, is about 15 right now. That blue line down there is the ATR. And that's based on the last 10. That's a scalp. A scalp can take literally 8 seconds. You guys have seen it. And sometimes a scalp might take 30, 45 minutes, an hour. We don't want it to have to take that long. Scalping should work quickly. But this is the market, right? It's the greatest playing field on the planet. Sometimes things don't necessarily work exactly how we'd like them to. So sometimes they take time and you have to kind of wait and give it time to figure out how to manage it. Watching the price action going bar by bar. Finally, when you get a bar you can manage on, you manage, whether it's in the red or in the green. But to say, scalping is somewhere between, you know, 5 and 20 points, that's ridiculous because the volatility is different every day. You know, on Tariff Talk Day 4 months ago versus the 4th of July, which we traded here on stream, that breaks because volatility could not have been more different. It was 100 times on Tariff Talk Day what it was on 4th of July. So I guess some of you guys were like, bro, just give us a fucking answer. To me, a scalp is somewhere between half of an ATR and 2x an ATR. More like half to a whole ATR. That's kind of like a scalp, maybe 1.5 an ATR, in that region. Okay, that should keep your average trade duration around, you know, maybe 5 minutes. Around there. It's going to be wildly different depending on the trade. All right, volatility is slowing a little bit here, though. ATR is falling. We're now in the 14s. Still reasonable this time of day, but falling again. P&L so far in the day is $22.90, so about 2,200 bucks. I always round down. All right, let's start cleaning up our chart a little bit here. Let's see if this becomes a thing. Very much, or very well could. I'm going to get rid of this because I'm actually looking at this wick low now and I don't want to jumble up my thoughts here. But it's still in my head, that trend line. However, we look to be entering more of a sideways trading range than we have really this entire, for most of this soft bull trend we've been seeing since about 9:25 Central here this morning. All right, 42 seconds out. Let's see how this bar closes. See, we're pulling on back. Yeah, I'll tell you, I do think a sideways trading range might be forming. See how this bar closes? Ooh, wicked up a little bit. Give this about 15 seconds here. See if I can get a bit better of an entry. I'd like to get long a little closer to the lower of that range, lower end of that range. Yeah, no entry. Next bar here. Gotta be picky, at least me in a situation like this. Paw. How many touches do you wait for before entering for the break and retest, and when do you go in on the second touch? Nah, it's not like that. It's not like that. That's really rule-based, and rule-based strategies tend to break very quickly. I'm just trading price action, so I'm looking at, okay, what's the context on the daily chart right now? We're in a range market. What's the context intraday here on like the 2-minute or the 5-minute chart? We're in a soft bull trend. That is now, in the last 20 minutes, seemingly forming, hey, you know, maybe that soft bull trend either continues after a brief intermission, or maybe we turn into this. So I'm looking for the bears to get a little bit confident and then get long, fade it back into the range. That's it. With this kind of deal, I'm not looking for, you know, 3 touches or a certain number of touches. Trying to do things that make sense, at least to me. All right, 60 seconds out here till we get the rollover here of this 2-minute bar. Kind of a weak retest here of the higher end of that channel, I gotta tell you. Which leads me to believe, hey, is this turning into a wedge? Either with a flat or maybe a descending. Draw a flat just to be safe. Now with these wedges, typically comes collapsing volatility and then a big break one way or the other. It's essentially 50-50 in most cases. With a slight lean, slightly higher probability, maybe 55-45 that it breaks the flat rather than the ascending. All right, well, ATR is holding on to about 14, which is good to see. This time of day, that is entirely reasonable. $20 seconds out. Here we go, we're testing this little flat. All right, I'll tell you what, it's time. I'm gonna do a poll here because I'm very curious what you guys are looking at. Just curious. All right, everyone vote on that poll. In the next hour, are we going to see this bull trend continue? Now, staying at least as high as we are right now, vote bull trend, okay? Because then we don't get the pullback. If you think we're going to pull back at least 25%, maybe 50%, what we've seen so far as gains on the day, at least beginning in the next hour, then vote pullback. Very curious what you guys feel about this. Yeah, I mean, you see, man, this little range is definitely forming. We have 55 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. So far, 77% of you think we're pulling back in the next hour. All right. Doji close on that last 2-minute bar. Let's see how this bar closes up here, minute 48 out. Clean things up a little bit. All right, 30 seconds out. Things are reasonably, I should say relatively tight here. We've still got better than 20 points, about 24, 25 points here in this little channel. Let's see how this bar closes. 6 seconds. Looks like we're gonna get an inside close here. Oh, goodness, another doji? Extremely indecisive here. Each side is, I think, feeling very insecure at this very moment. Which means leave that bar to the algos and the degenerates. That is not for us. Next bar, minute 44 out. All right, 42 seconds out. Let's see. Come on, Bears. Get a little bit cocky. Give us a nice close. At, near, or just past that little flat bottom. Not an exact line, just a range. There you go, Bears. I'll punch that long. Risk will be reasonably tight here. Yeah, let's see if we can kind of get a fade back up into that trading range. ATR is about 13. So keep that in mind. Again, a scalp is going to be between a half and a whole ATR, approximately. Beauty. I'll take better than half an ATR. All right, next trade. We're up 29.54, so just under 3,000. Let's move on. Volatility's low, man. Got to work with what we got. So ATR is about 13. See, that bear's trying to fade this thing before we even get back to halfway through the range. That's not a great sign for the bulls. Let's see if the bears break this lower. Now, if they do, by the way, it's not an instant, at least for me, it's not an instantaneous short. I would need to see at least 2 consecutive bear bars closing near their low, ideally growing, but meaning the second one bigger than the first. For me to be convinced to throw on a short, even just for a scalp. How we doing, by the way? What's up, guys? You're kind of quiet today. Is everyone down 30 grand or what's up? Did all you guys get short right before the bull trend hit? What's going on? Uh-oh, Michael says, yep. Mulatto's tilted. Jared up 2K, good work. Have fun, Roy. It's a big one. 8th day on Apex finished successfully. Ooh, you're about ready for a payout, is that right? Is it payout time for you? And right back into the trading range, man. See, that's why, I mean, I hate to be the Monday morning quarterback when these kind of things happen, but just for teaching purposes, this here is why I in a range market, I don't take the first close outside of the range, because more often than not, we just fade right back into the range. Now, this thing could be, you know, this little descending resistance, this thing could be forming, and then we might fade and then finally get that downside break, but it oftentimes takes a little more convincing of the other side to actually break out. So I think it's kind of dangerous in a range market specifically to take that first breakout bet. Most of the time, it's not going to go all that far. What's up, guys? All you guys that are new in the Discord, welcome. Of course, it is free to hang out and get better. And when something interesting happens, I do post P&L updates in there after I'm off the stream. Sometimes, you nosy motherfuckers. Yeah, here, it's, here, I'll give you the link. There you go. Free to join. Come hang out. Link to the Discord is in the chat. All right, right back into this little range. I'm very curious, by the way, to see, hey, does that kind of thing start forming, or do we just backfill the whole range? I'm gonna get rid of that just so we can look at this with a clean set of eyes. About halfway through the range there, let's see if the bulls can take it higher, up to the top at least of that range, which will likely lead to a little bit of selling pressure from the bears. And from there, again, hey, when you have a flat top, flat bottom like this, can somebody tell me what's the probability of it breaking higher, and what's the probability of it breaking lower? When you have a flat top, flat bottom like this, what is it? Approximately. There you go, Dusty. 50-50. Dusty wins. They're all too slow. See, now, Redneck, 49.51, you actually have somewhat of a point because the market has positive drift, right? It moves higher over time. So maybe you could say, well, it's actually 50.5 to 49.5, to 50.5 being higher. Yeah, maybe. But in trading, we live in a fog anyway, so I like to round the probabilities to something that just is easy to remember, that makes sense, that you can kind of think about on the fly. 50-50. Whichever side has my stop loss, that's right. Yeah, Bulls trying to take this higher, but getting, you know, exactly what we just talked about. Bulls trying to take it through, met with bear selling pressure. They say, nope, no, this is a range market. And the bulls go, all right, you caught me. And then they fade it back. Bulls get a little insecure about buying near the high end of that range. Everybody sees this. Every algorithm sees this little sideways trading range. It seems to be widening out a little bit, so our flat top, flat bottom might have to be removed, and we just might have to look at this with the understanding that this sideways trading range is there and that both sides are kind of more of a range than an actual level, which is fine. But this is really, really typical. Most breakout attempts, the other side kind of tries to sneak it through, and then in this case, the bears step back in and say, "What are you guys doing? What the fuck are you guys doing?" Fade that thing back in. So let's clean this up, get rid of this now. Again, understanding sideways trading range until we are informed otherwise. Dual rollover coming, by the way, here. 5-minute top left, 2-minute top right, both 32 seconds out from the rollover. That 5-minute bar is looking like it might end up being a, well, we'll see if it ends up being kind of a doji here. What many would call a gravestone doji. Roll over 5 seconds. I'd call that an inside close on the 5-minute chart. Rather indecisive there. 2-minute, not much going on that chart either. So let's go back to focus on the 2 here and watch how this little range develops. By the way, guys, Take Profit Trader, they're still running that crazy deal. It's still 40% off. There's still no activation fee. And still, they're refunding you the first... When you take your first payout on the Pro account, they refund you what you paid the first month for the test when you take that first payout, which is kind of ridiculous. Like, it's essentially free as long as you get a payout on it. That's all only if you use code BIG, by the way. All right, 31 seconds out here from the rollover of this 2-minute bar. Let's see what we get. Probably not much, huh? ATR, by the way, quick little update. Still at 14. We're maintaining 14. It's been 14 for quite a while now, at least 30 minutes. All right, how's our poll looking? 70% of you think we're going to pull back here. At least a reasonable amount. That doesn't mean, 2 points. But 25 to 50% in the next, well, I guess at this point, probably about 40 minutes. All right, Rovio, we're going to hold you to that. We're going to hold you to that. Redneck, sorry, you're locked in. All right, for those of you guys just joining us, 3 scalps so far on the day, 3 winners so far on the day. We're up $2,900, $2,954. So, I mean, we're currently, volatility's kind of low, so the trades have been smaller. We're a little over halfway to the daily goal, though I'm always, of course, trying to blow that daily goal away if we can. But volatility definitely helps. There's a little bit of a push, huh? All right, here comes the rollover on this 2-minute bar. Inside close on that bear bar, but a little bit better volatility, 22.25 points on that last bar. Let's see here. Do the bears take this lower? And if they do they respect that descending area of what seems to kind of be holding up as support? Benjamin, good to have you. Hope to see you become a regular in the chat, as well as the rest of you lurkers. Don't think I don't see you. I know there's a bunch of you out there who are here daily and never say a word. Join us. Be social. Fucking hermits. Man, trading's a lonely game. Talk to people. Capital City lurking. All right, 50 seconds out here. Yes, Joe, I can see the little crowns right now. We got Gaines in number 1, Rovio as number 2, and Roy in number 3. No, it's a good thing. All right, we got 50 seconds out here. I think this is actually pretty good experience. I mean, learning experience here. Guys, look at the 5-minute chart top left and look at the 2-minute top right. The 2-minute is the same one we've been executing off of, just Slightly zoomed in, so you can see things a little better. You see how we are still, we really haven't broken the soft bull trend on the 5 minute, right? You can just see it better on the 5 minute. However, getting short here is really tough because you have this look, right? So getting short, you have this look, and we're still kind of in that soft bull trend. But getting long is tough because now it's like, yeah, well, shit, we're in a trading range. You have this kind of thing, a couple different looks. This is one of those scenarios that, for me, I mean, you could kind of do nothing or you could do either or. Like, I could get long near the low end of this, here. If I'm going to do anything, I'm either going to get long down here or get short up here and then manage my risk pretty damn tight on the short. Risk on both of these is pretty damn tight because if you're on the wrong side, you don't want to give it too much room. You could draw this top a couple different ways, descending, flat. Whatever you think more people will probably see. You'd probably draw it like that if we had to. All right, we're 20 seconds out here. Got a half decent bull bar. I actually like that. Let's see how this closes. And this makes my life easy as far as managing risk. It's a strong bull bar. And I'm going to bet against it. And we're going to go ahead. Put our protective stop right there. Pop up the P&L. See if we can suck back down in. The ATR is currently about 15, 14, 15. See if we can suck back in for maybe half an ATR, a little bit better. All right, better suck it down back into the channel. I need more than that out of you. Bulls are trying. Let's see if they can do anything here. 34 seconds out to the rollover of this 2-minute bar. All right, shrinking bull bar here. Decent close out of the bulls, but a shrinking bull bar. Bait us right back in, Bears. Come on now. All right, Bulls trying here. We got 18 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. If they crack that high, I want to be stopped. So let's see. That's it, Bears. Fade it back into the range. Don't let the Bulls do it to you. All right, Bears, come on now. You're kind of letting the Bulls push you around, huh? We're in the top third of this little range. Again, if we crack this wick high, that's when risk gets managed. But for now, this is a bet that we fade this right back into the trading range. Range day, range day, range day. At least since, about an hour ago. Right. ATR, by the way, where are we sitting? 13, maybe 14 on the average true range. All right, Bears, do it to him. Right back into the trading range. All right, now again, ATR here is 13 or 14, so considering that when thinking about profit taking here. Again, with most scalps on a range day, I'm looking for anywhere between like half and a whole ATR. Typically. Good push out of the bulls. Got a minute 12 left here on this 2-minute bar. Let's see if they test that high. Been struggling thus far. All right, Bears, I'd say that's about enough attempts here out of the bulls. Let's just fade it back into the range. We know you want to. There it is. There is a fade back in. Oh, shit. A little late on the wick. All right, that wick was quick, down to about 10. I think I saw 10 3/4. ATR is about 14. By the time I got to it, we were back to maybe 7 or 8. Cancel the order. And half to a whole ATR is really what I'm after here. That's going to happen sometimes when you're scalping. Now, by the way, I like to leave this limit order nice and wide, right, in case we get news. Okay, so what do we get in the money there? Maybe 11 points. Just a little slow on the hotkey. It's all right. All right, that ATR is still sitting at 14, man. We're holding up at 14 for the last hour. Come on now, Bears. Back into the range. I promise I won't be slow on the key this time. That happens sometimes, man. There you go. All right, got about 10 points, which is ATR is below 14, so that's better than half in ATR. Take it. All right, next trade. We're up 38.63 now, so 3,800 bucks on the day. Let's clean this up. So that's 4 trades, 4 scalps so far today, 4 winners. Small scalps. Again, volatility, we can only do what we can do. Gotta work with what we got. But doing well for what we got so far here. Man, if you guys haven't yet, like the stream. I appreciate you doing so. It really does help out tremendously. Appreciate you, Jason. Good to see you. All right, so I suppose I should switch out a couple of accounts that are now officially in payout territory. So as you guys remember, I'm now trading in 2 groups as I scale. increase the number of props. So I'm now using Apex, Take Profit Trader, Tradeify, stop number 4. You know what it is? I think it'll be Bullinox. I think I'm gonna hit Bullinox for stop number 4. All right, which account should I add back? Let's do the 300K funded Apex. We'll add that to the group. All right. Roy? You're damn straight they do. You're damn straight they do. The Lightning Funded, which is, listen guys, I get it. If the evals are pissing you off, you can skip them at Tradeify, which is why I'm adding it to the arsenal here for you guys. So Tradeify is officially the 3rd prop to be graced with code BIG, and it's 35% off the straight to funded. Lightning Funded is what they're called at Tradeify accounts, which you buy it and you're immediately in a funded account. Pretty cool, huh? You don't have to trade a test, no evals. All right, I need your guys' opinion on something, okay? For my stop number 4. You guys listening? For stop number 4 on my scaling journey, should I hit Bullinox or funding ticks? Bullinox or funding ticks? Which one do you guys like better? I am under the impression that Bullinox is kind of like an Apex with more relaxed rules. Funding ticks? I'm not sure what I would compare it to. And of course, I'm going to get a whole bunch of people saying both. Got three votes for Bullinox, 2 for funding ticks. Yeah, Leon, ignore them. It's a bunch of scamming losers who have pretended to be me for years to eke out whatever little amount of money they can from unsuspecting individuals. Fucking lames is what they are. And if you stop falling for it, they'll eventually give up and go get a job or provide to society in some way. Yeah, if I go Bullinox, it'll be rhythmic. But my Apex plugin is also rhythmic, so what I'd have to do is trade my Apex accounts and my Bullinox accounts separately, which I gotta tell you, I don't really mind. I don't mind doing that. Cruz, who did you say is straight to funded again? It is Tradeify. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll even drop it in the chat for you. If you use code BIG, it's 35% off the Lightning funded accounts, which the reason for the Lightning funded is so that you skip the eval. You buy the account and you are instantly funded. Okay, which is obviously pretty cool. Now, as far as payouts, by the way, here, I can give you all the numbers. All right, the 25K account, the Lightning funded accounts, the payouts max is always $1,000. The 50K, the max payout is $2,000 for the first three, $2,500 for the fourth. On the 100K account, it's $2,500 for the first three payouts, $3,000 for the fourth. This is the max payout, okay? For the 150K account, it's $3,000 for the first three and $3,500 for the fourth. All payouts after that, by the way, remain whatever the fourth was. So I gotta tell you, man, with multiple accounts, you can do some fucking damage over at Tradeify. If you have an edge. Yeah, Rovio, you're correct about that. So if you guys want daily payouts, you got to hit Take Profit Trader. Still probably my favorite prop firm. Because those daily payouts, man, if you're trying to bootstrap being full-time, those daily payouts are important. You need some revenue coming in. Life is expensive as all hell. And you need money coming into the bank as consistently as possible. Take Profit Trader, daily payouts, gives you the opportunity to do that. Tradeify is 7 days. For the first payout and in between, but you skip the eval. It's another prop to use to scale. You're gonna need multiple. I'm moving on to my fourth stop. So I got Take Profit, Apex, Tradeify. I'm moving to probably Bullinox. If not, I'll look at funding ticks. I'm very interested in funding ticks. But hey, when you're scaling horizontally, just hit them all, man. Why not? All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. Volatility is slow, and I want to be back sitting down after lunch, probably within 20 or 30 minutes here to see if volatility is picked up. But while we're in this little range, I got to take the opportunity to smash a meal here and then get on back here. So I'll tell you guys what. If you're not in the free Discord, of course, it's 100% free. Join. It's wrenchcapital.com/Discord. Again, free to join. Just come hang out and get better. And I'll tell you guys what, I will see you tomorrow morning. for another scalping stream. I'm live every day for those of you guys who are new, so make sure you like the stream. Liking the stream is more important than subscribing to make your life easy in 2025 in the YouTube algorithm. When you like it, it should pop up tomorrow morning for you right on the homepage when I'm live. If you subscribe, helps, but you might miss it. So just like it, it's easier. And I'll see you guys in the morning. All right, code BIG, best deal always, Apex, Take Profit Trader, and Tradeify. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning. We're 4 for 4 today, 4 trades, 4 winners, sitting up $3,500, 3,546 so far. Let's see if we can pad it up this afternoon. All right, guys, see you tomorrow. Be patient, let it come to you, and when it does, fucking hit it hard. See you tomorrow. Have a good one.